Welcome back, folks. Get a grip on lighting. On today's show, we have Bill Gildin. Billy Gildin? Billy or Bill? That's right. Satco's president. You know, Greg, a lot of people are going to want to know. He's very reserved guy.
He is. And I think kind of behind the scenes in a way, but he is a
Yes.
scene. I mean, he's there first, he's out last, and Alan told us that he's working consistently at it, and we saw it from our own experience when we did this visit. How impressive a facility and impressive a company they are.
Yeah, Sacco is one of those companies that's a lot bigger than you think, actually.
For sure.
So, yeah, and Bill Gildin is worth listening to, folks. This guy knows what he's doing. He's built an amazing company, great people. So you got to go to satco.com, baby. That's sacco.com. They do the right thing. They do the light thing. Or is it we do the right thing? We do the light thing.
We all try to do that, but that's what Satco does.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
We were at their facility and we saw their warehouse, and they're not like every lighting distributor that keeps a few SKUs in stock and says, you got to order in full case size. They'll break down whatever you need, man. You need 2 light bulbs, they're going to get it to you. They're going to break it down. They're going to repackage it. They're going to send it to you. And how many thousands of square feet was that thing?
I don't know.
That was one warehouse.
Huge.
A couple 100,000 of lighting products. Everything traditional, LED, legacy, whatever you want to call everything. Fixtures. If you need something in lighting, Sacco has it, and they have it in stock. They'll get it to you, whatever you need.
I love the way they use the word support, because it's like you hear a lot of hoity-toityness out there in the lighting industry. Sacco's been in the game too long and understands it too well to get all weird. They support the old product because people still want it. That's it. They're big enough and strong enough and wise enough to know that, hey, whatever light bulb you want to use is not my business. Here it is. And so Sacco's got it. And if you're an electrical distributor and you want to limit your line card, or you're a lighting distributor and you want to turn to a company that's got lots of stock and is willing to support you on small orders, you don't have to buy 25 or this or that or whatever. They'll break those cases out and all. We saw them doing it right there in their facility.
Yeah. And how many lighting distributors are only saying they're LED right now? Why only be LED? Sell it all. Satco has it all.
So go to satco.com. We do the light thing. We do the right thing. And we saw it with our own eyes. And so thanks, Alan, Brian, Billy, everybody at Sacco for having us down there and for being long-term NAILD members, NAILD.org. Sacco's been in that since, I don't know how long, since I've been in NAILD, Sacco's been there. So thanks for having us. And for right now, check out is he the president or the CEO? Shoot, I should have known that before I did the ad.
I think it said it didn't matter when we asked.
Yeah, I think he said that too, yeah.
He's the man.
He's the man. Billy Gildin on Get a Grip on Lighting. Welcome to the Get a Grip on Lighting podcast, Bill Gildin.
Glad to be here.
Say hello to Greg Eric.
Greg, how are you today?
Good. Thanks for having us here. Beautiful facility we're in.
Wow.
It's awesome.
It's
snowy Long Island.
Hey, we'll take it.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, yesterday I took a really wonderful tour of your business here. And you know what really impressed me is the scope of Satco. That's the right word, Greg, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
It's the scope of Satco. From the weirdest little socket with a cord on it to the brand new LED fixtures made of wood. I think we were talking a little bit about it last night at dinner. What is it like to have so many? It seems like you guys have so many different irons in the fire.
I think what's unique about Satco is most people don't understand the breadth of our product line, the inventory that we are committed to, our distribution model, and we try to be a one-stop shop source for lighting products for your distributor, your lighting showroom, anyone that needs a lighting product. For the most part, Satco either stocks it or can source it for them.
What year did Satco start?
Satco was founded in actually 1967 by my father, Herb Gildin, and my uncle Luke Kaufman were the 2 co-founders.
Okay, what made them get into the business?
It's a long family story, and maybe for another time. But they really started out in the supermarket or bodega business. They had a small 2-aisle local supermarket in East New York, which is part of Brooklyn and servicing the local community. And it was a tough time, tough neighborhood. They chose to had the opportunity to go into rack jobbing with light bulbs.
Okay.
And so part of the business was the supermarket. Part of the business was this rack jobbing concept. And back in the time, actually, Mayor Lindsay at the time wanted to build low-income project housing in that area. So they had to abandon that location, and they had to choose to stay in the supermarket business or the lighting business, and they went with the lighting business.
Made a good choice.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. What does the name come from? Satco. What is it?
Originally, it was Satellite Wholesalers back in when they first formed it, and it was SATTELIGHT. It was a way nobody really could really spell it. When they matured the business and they actually wanted to come out with a brand, they shortened the name to Satco.
Okay. Like satellite company or whatever. Satco.
Exactly.
Got it. Oh, interesting.
So here's my question for you. We were talking to Alan Karen yesterday, walking around your warehouse, seeing all the orders being picked. We were talking about how crazy it must be to do inventory.
We have a lot of SKUs and inventory. Company like us has a lot of challenges. Inventory control is probably one of the toughest challenges because of the amount of SKUs that we maintain.
So when I was walking through the warehouse, we went from beautiful LED fixtures to 400-watt metal halide to skids of T12. Now, if you went to 3 or 4 years ago, if you went to a lighting warehouse and had to sell a bunch of T12, someone might sneer at you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but now it's kind of like it's gone to the point where I think that the scope of it is a strength for you guys, but also you seem to be transitioning on multiple fronts, like transitioning away from the socket slowly into these purpose-built fixtures, transitioning away from T12s and metal halides into LEDs. But there's almost like you're not cutting any cords. You're just letting the market dictate what Sacco stocks.
I mean, we're a lamp company, so we cut our teeth on selling light bulbs and lamps, and the legacy product, whether it's linear fluorescence, HID, CFL, we still feel obligated to continue to support those product categories as long as there's still demand in the marketplace. Sometimes I'm more nervous about not, bringing a new innovative product is less risky, I think, sometimes than maintaining the legacy product, because one of these days, just fall off the cliff and there'll be no more demand for legacy product. But I think as more and more of our competitors have kind of abandoned some of those categories, the market's not growing, but we've gained some market share in those categories. So it's our commitment today to continue to support those lighting categories. Simultaneously, we need to be innovative and creative and bring out new products and the new technologies that's really driving, the top line of our business.
So a lot of irons in the fire.
Transitioning, but it's also like this transition, and it's like I think it's healthy because you guys have deep roots in the business, but it's also healthy not to. It's I'm a distributor. It's scary to just abandon the legacy sources in a way. I feel like you are abandoning your customers as a lighting distributor if you're not willing to sell them an EXT MR16.
I agree 100%. And sometimes I'd like to not leverage that, but a lot of our people who've emerged in this business in the last couple of years don't know about the history of lamps. They just come in and try to be opportunistic on the LED category, and that's fine. That's competition. But a company like Satco and there's others like us who continue to support that legacy product, I think deserves the respect of the distributor, because we're still filling sockets that you have demand for. Mm-hmm. And if we abandon that, then obviously someone might find another solution. But I still think we're obligated to continue to support those product categories till the bitter end.
Yeah, what I thought was cool, and when we were walking through your facility, is that you guys are picking orders and you're not making people order case sizes. You'll take 2 light bulbs, you'll take a box, you'll put them in a package. And my comment was that it's like very much like my place, or your warehouse is, except 10,000 times bigger.
Yeah. I think as a smaller company, we had to do what the other people wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And whether that was, a drop shipping, breaking case packs, overwrapping, doing whatever it takes in order to fill the demands of our customers and fill those order requirements.
How are tariffs affecting your business? What's that?
Look at that smile.
It's a sore subject today, since I don't know if you saw the stock market this morning, but our president made an announcement this morning that he might not look for a trade deal until post next election. So the tariffs have been a major challenge for us, and it costs us literally millions of dollars. That's very difficult for us to pass on to the marketplace. We've tried, and we've tried to do it in a stepped fashion to be fair to all of our distributors, and we've borne the burden of most of the tariffs. The biggest issue with tariffs, and December 15th, there might be the next phase of additional 15% on incandescents and LED lamps, which hasn't been tariffed to this point. The biggest challenge as the president of a company is the unknown. Is not being able to, if you could forecast and predict and what's going to happen, you can plan. But one day the tariffs are going into effect, one day they're not going into effect, one day they're being postponed, one day they're being rolled back. So it's very difficult to run a business of our size not knowing exactly what the impacts of tariffs will be.
I think it's hard to run a business of any size without being able to know what the marketplace is going to be like. Like one of the comments that I completely agree with you. And the other thing is, like, I'm going to make two comments. One about tariffs. Tariffs, people don't realize tariffs is a form of indirect taxation. That's what it is. It's a form of taxation, right? The second thing is that, to you, tariffs is like rebates for me. Okay. So we've had rebates contiguously in the Toronto market from, say, 2001. That's a long time. That's almost my entire career in the lighting business. I started in 2000, right? And so the rebate, whether there's going to be a rebate program or not, okay, creates massive uncertainty for me as I'm a small business owner. As a small business owner, I can't plan. I don't know if I'm going to be, because if they unplug the rebate programs, a lot of my employees are going to get laid off. Sorry, guys, but that's the truth. You know what I'm saying? So uncertainty does cause a lot of problems for us, and as business owners. And how are you coping with that? What are you doing with do you have someone who's watching the news? Is there somebody that's looking at how do you deal with it?
We try to manage our inventory a little bit differently, and we try to tighten our grip on inventory a little bit, so that when the tariffs do get repealed, or if they get enacted, some people, I think, bought heavy, trying to bring inventory in prior to the tariffs being initiated, going back almost 18 months ago. We really didn't do that. We really, we first of all, we're blessed. If you saw our inventory in the warehouse, we keep a lot of stock on hand. So there was no reason to try to anticipate the tariffs. We've just kind of now really kind of decreased some of the purchasing, so our inventory levels are a little bit more manageable. As well, we've worked with some of our factories to see if there was some offsets. Because whatever our president says, the U.S. companies, importers, are paying the tariffs. The Chinese aren't paying the tariffs. So it's
a form of U.S. taxation.
It's a taxation that gets passed on to the consumer.
People don't understand. They don't. It's an indirect taxation. People don't. The Chinese are not paying for it. The Americans are paying.
And it's a taxation that I get taxed the day my product clears customs. I'm paying those tariffs. So even if I have to pass those tariffs on to my customers and do it with a price increase, it sits on my shelf.
Like the Boston Tea Party was about tariffs. That's what they were protesting. Tariffs.
Correct.
Right, that's what they threw the tea off the boat. Right,
so maybe we should have an
LED party.
LED tea party.
Do you think because of this tariffs, does it cause you to consider maybe bringing manufacturing here? Is it still way too costly?
It's in our industry. It's very difficult. If you're in the garment industry, or you bring in pottery or finished goods, I think it's easy to move manufacturing around anywhere globally. In the lighting business, whether it's fixtures or lamps or components, there's so much supply chain that's still embedded in China. Unless a factory is fully vertically integrated, factories, they just can't pick up and leave. And also some of the costs you might get out of another country, the China. We visit our factories on a continuous basis. We have engineers over there. We know the quality that we're getting. Just to uproot those factories and their relationships also, because the factories that we buy from, unless they move, we want to support our factories. I mean, the factories are our lifeline. So we've worked with them, with some of them, to take advantage of some of the currency changes where the U.S. dollar has gotten stronger against the RMB, and we had some reduced prices to offset the tariffs, but nowhere near does it make up for the 25% tariffs that we're paying.
So we were in China in 2014, and a lot of it was manually put together. But now, isn't it most of it automated?
You go into an LED factory today, you got to put on the, you go through, put on the scrub suit, and you're going into a vacuum chamber, getting all the particles off you. Going to a clean room, and you're going into a fully automated technology environment.
If you're going into a good one, like you're talking, we went into ones where people were flip-flops and
no. It's amazing when you go into those factories today.
Yeah.
I remember going into an old factory where there were glass burners and they there was dirt and dust and it was a depressing environment.
Yeah.
Today you're going into a really modern factories with modern equipment and state-of-the-art technology.
What about CFL Manufacturing? That was interesting. Have you ever been to a place where they
of course.
CFLs?
I saw them when they would by hand spin the tubes.
Really?
They automated that, but at first they were spinning the glass to make the spiral by hand.
That's crazy.
Oh man!
Did you say going back? Did you say incandescents are getting tariffed?
The next wave will be incandescents.
Why?
Because it's a consumable product.
But it's not anywhere near what LED. I get LEDs because
it's because those categories haven't been tariffed till now. So that's like the last wave of products.
Makes it a tough deal trying to figure out that stuff and all the marketing that goes into it too. You guys have to, like send out a letter. There's a lot of manufacturers, then you take it back and
we kind of don't do knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah.
I think all of our correspondence to our customers have been well planned and well executed. And if this goes into effect December 15th, we probably won't put something into effect till sometime in February to give our customers ample chance to react to the additional cost of the tariffs.
Wow. So I want to talk a little bit about we were back in the warehouse. I'm back in your warehouse again. I
like the warehouse.
Yeah, I like watching light bulbs get shipped. I mean, is it weird? I mean, you probably not all day, but if
it's funny when you visit companies, sometimes you can get a real feel for the DNA and the culture of the company by seeing how what's going on in the warehouse.
So Alan's walking around, he's grabbing orders out of people's hands. He's looking at it. He's like, "Oh yeah, that's a good company. Look at this order. What's on the order?" He's looking at it, right? And it's like I looked at one order. I had put 8 lines on the order. And I'm looking at the items, and there's a miniature, there's an LED, but there's a little case of tubes or whatever. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, this guy's a lighting distributor, right? I'm a lighting distributor. Like, this guy's got 2 or 3 orders to his clients on this PO.
Right.
And he's going to take those bulbs in, and he's going to put other stuff with them and ship them out to other clients. And you think about that. That's actually a wonderful service to America. You think about like how that supply chain works. You understand what I mean? And if there's a guy in a warehouse in Long Island, and Alan Karen's running around grabbing, and I'm looking at what's on the order. It's an interesting way to get a snapshot of what Satco does. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, our customers have what's great about Satco, and I think in the relationship with our customers is probably that order. If there's miniatures and there's fluorescents, they could have gone to 5 or 6 other manufacturers and bought one line, and then they'd have to cut 5 or 6 POs, receive 5 or 6, receipts.
Wait for 5 or 6 minimum orders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By coming to, not that this is a commercial for Sacco, but might as well take the opportunity. But by coming to us, they can consolidate their vendors and really place one purchase order and get a breadth of product that fills their customers' needs.
Yeah, the 8 line items. I think only one of them was LED.
Halogen. Yeah, we got to change that.
Well, you know what? Yeah, for you guys are transitioning. There's no you're not chopping anything. You can see there's like a transition to LED. It's interesting on that. That's one of my next point is. You have the uncertainty with the tariffs. Okay, fine. You're still selling a lot. You're still supporting legacy product. You're innovating on the fixture side. You're getting away. Well, you're getting a little bit away from the socket, but you still make fixtures with sockets, right? Sure. Where is the industry going? Is it going to be purpose built LEDs with drivers and arrays, or are we going to go back to the socket and the screw-in bulb?
That's the $1 million question, I guess. I think the socket ultimately will go away.
You do.
I think the socket will go away. If you look at most of your luminaires today, there's no socket anymore. But I think to a certain degree that might be good for the industry because now that lamp or that luminaire has a life, and once that life is over, chances are they're going to have to replace that entire fixture. Whether it's a decorative fixture, a little bit easier. Whether it's a commercial building and there's a bunch of luminaires, will they all match each other? Is the driver serviceable? What can be done on the commercial side? But if you look at the lighting business, especially on the fixture side, people used to buy a dining room fixture, and that would be a family heirloom. They would never change it. Because they would, the socket, they would just keep on replacing the light bulbs in the socket, and that socket was important to us because that was the printer and the cartridge. We were replacing those lamps all the time. But now I think with the innovation of LED and fixtures, maybe people will buy fixtures more often.
That's a paradigm shift. So what we've done is we've increased the life of the light source, but decreased the life cycle of the fixture.
It's pretty heavy.
No, sir. That's what it is, right? That's a shift in paradigm.
Absolutely.
Right? And when you look at it from a benign perspective, like you're not saying which is bad or good. If you just look at it, that's a very interesting switch in the way lighting people think about the lighting business. Bill Gildin is sitting here going, you know what? People are just going to buy fixtures now.
More often.
I mean, that's not has no sense of like whether it's right or wrong. It's just a response to the market and what's happening. And it's interesting. I don't know if we're going to go back to the socket. I think there's so many innovative designs that you can do without a socket.
Sure.
That make it very difficult for people to go, do I really want to put a socket in that thing? Because I can just do this without the socket, right? And I think that I think it's inevitable that the socket goes away. I also think the we're good, eh? So you believe that as well. How long do you think before? Well, let me ask you this question: how much of you would see, product category sales? Do you ever analyze by product category by number of units sold, not revenue? But like, I sold this many CFLs, I sold this many fluorescent tubes, I sold this many incandescents.
We do. I mean, it's actually become more important now with LED lamps because it's with over the last 5 or 10 years. If you think about the price decrease in LED lamps,
sure.
So if you were just selling $1 million of LED lamps 5 years ago, to sell $1 million today, you probably have to sell 3 times as many lamps.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to measure the top line, the revenue, but yeah, units are more important today than ever because of the fact that you don't have price stability. You have price decline.
There's 2 directions we can go. I'll let Greg jump in.
So you guys do look at it from a unit standpoint,
Correct.
So
you want units and revenue, but you can't. But you have to look at units as well.
Has the legacy technology always decreased year over year? Has there been any increase?
What's crazy about
what's happening is the legacy product is going like this, but people are jumping out of the market, and Satco's capturing.
That's what I meant.
They're still growing in it, right?
So our decline in legacy product, I think, outpaces the decline of the industry. Because I think we've gained some market share. The market hasn't grown, but as other companies have abandoned those categories, they come to us, whether it's for HID.
Sure.
All right. You think our HID business, with corn cobs and all the other LED solutions, you think our HID business would be off, year over year, 30%. It's probably off maybe like under 10%.
Wow.
So and it's priced, on the legacy product, for the most part, we've tried to have price stability on the legacy product, where in reality is, there should be, that's almost an added value today, where the LEDs become the commodity product. The legacy product is the value added product because we're still carrying it. Yeah. That's a shift also.
Yeah, it is.
There's 2 shifts in this.
Yeah, exactly. 2 paradigm shifts. Yeah, like having legacy is like the reason to buy your LEDs from Satco. I did a podcast on it. We did a podcast on the line card.
Right.
And I think I was telling you about it last night a little bit over dinner, that if you don't want to have a lot of light bulb manufacturers or whatever on your line card, Satco is probably one of the top ones to have. And this is not an advertorial for Satco, but it's just the way of the truth is that in hanging on to those categories, you're like a complete lighting source.
Yeah.
And it's that's what I am. That's what Greg is to the end user.
But of a bunch of different brands, you're the complete source of one brand.
There you go.
We kind of put that all together. So
yeah. The other angle I wanted to take on the number of units sold. So in the past, we in lighting, you look at gross profit, right? That would be a big number, right?
Sure.
Like, what's your gross profit? But if I started looking at profit per item sold. You understand what I'm saying? Like with fixtures and that, because the gross profit numbers, it's almost like you can't really look at a financial statement from 10 years ago and compare it to one today, because the way you look at the metrics is different. Is that correct for
Well,
Sacco
I mean, we look at also, the margin of different categories, and sometimes, certain product categories are just more expensive to serve because of a freight factor. Shipping, 8-foot LED tubes versus shipping, a mini can halogen lamp.
Sure.
Between breakage and freight, there are a lot of other components that, above the line, your margin might look strong. Below the line, when you look at, breakage or freight factor or any other kind of factors that could erode margin, so you have to different product we really have to really dial into different product categories, because margins, sometimes margins can be misleading.
Billy, you're holding down the base in the lighting industry. He's holding down the base.
Holding down the base.
Thank you for coming on the show.
I've enjoyed the experience.
Having us as your guest here. It was probably one of our nicest visits.
I enjoyed dinner last night, and hopefully you guys will enjoy a little excursion going out to the east end of Long Island today.
Yeah, we're going to take a look out there and stop on distributor on the way. So, folks, thanks for listening. And it's Billy Gildin from Bill Gildin. Bill Gildin from Satco, from his boardroom here in wonderful Long Island, New York.
That's right.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Go to satco.com. We do the light thing. I feel like I'm on Sacco's team a little bit now, Greg. Come on. After I went down there, hung out with Alan Karen and Brian Brandis and Billy Gildin. Wow.
Yeah, it shows you that this industry, or really any business, is more than just a product. It's the people that involved. A lot of those people there, how many years were there? 30 years, 20 years. Yeah. Everybody stays there. They're a great company, and it proves it with their employees that are on staff, and then also the product that they have. They do carry everything. I mean, everything. You go in this warehouse, 35-foot ceiling, a couple 100,000 square feet, boxes upon boxes stacked up of every type of light fixture, bulb, socket, cord, anything. Sacco's got it.
Go to satco.com. We do the light thing. We do the right thing. And you know what? Especially if you're an electrical distributor, all you need is Sacco, man. If you're selling light bulbs on the side, that pipe and wire, you're good to have an account with Satco, man. And of course, they're longtime NAILD members, and so are we, Greg. Go to the National Association of Innovative Lighting Distributors website. That's NAILD.org. Our event's coming out April 19th to 22nd in Biloxi, Mississippi. And what a good time we had with Bill Gildin.
Yeah, it was awesome. Got to do it again.
From the dinner the night before through to the podcast in the morning, and checking out Sacco and showing us all around their warehouse and telling us all about the company. Hey, guys, thanks for having us. And, of course, the listener, you guys out there. Hey, man, Greg and I, we're humbled that we're on episode whatever 100 this one is now. It's been a fun ride for us, and we'll always say thanks to you guys. You're the most important to us.
Thank you.
Written on the rectory wall, there's a sign there for all. If you are lost, Lord is there to find you.